Owen Coyle has led Burnley to their highest league finish in 33 years. But can they go the extra yards in the playoffs? Steve Coppell's Reading were just one win away from an automatic return to the Premier League. Do they have what it takes for the knockout route? They've waited a long time for this opportunity at Turf Moor, and they're primed to take their chance. Burnley have been outstanding in cup competitions this season, and the reward for going through the playoffs is the biggest prize in football, a place in the Premier League. In the Coca-Cola Championship playoff semi-final first leg, it's Burnley against Reading, live from Turf Moor. Burnley have been the surprise package this season, and they've had victories over 5 Premier League clubs in cup competitions. But Reading were pre-season favourites for promotion, and they've got one more chance left. With us, Peter Beagrie. Peter, who's got the sharpest cutting edge of these teams tonight?
Well, both teams can score goals. You know, there's only Wolves score more than a pair of them, 72 goals each. But you know, I think Reading, as far as the away side's concerned, it'd be great for them to have Kevin Doyle back and hopefully fire him for them. His first ever goal was against Burnley in English football. So if you're looking for a little bit of a story, that could be it.
Is Chris Eagles for Burnley Premier League quality?
Yes, and he's, you know, since his £1.2 million transfer from Man United, he's one of 3 players, you know, with Wade Elliott and Robbie Blake, who've got fantastic feet, and one of about 7 players in the Burnley side who've played over 50 games. And 7 goals, great crossing. Dan Arden, the left-back at Reading, has got a very, very good job on his hands today.
You think Burnley would be favourites here, and probably they are, but Reading love playing away, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and, you know, I think the way that Reading are set up today, they're going to match up with Burnley 4-5-1 and try and stifle Burnley. I think Burnley are favourites today, definitely, and I think they've got more match winners in the side.
OK, let's get the team news from our commentators. It's Don Goodman and Bill Leslie.
Well, this Burnley band of brothers have certainly punched above their weight throughout the marathon season. They're without Wade Elliott today, though. He failed a late fitness test on a calf injury. Joey Good-Johnson is drafted into midfield. Reece Williams has been here on loan from Middlesbrough for the last 3 months, but isn't available for the playoffs. So a change in defence too. Mike Duff recalled to right back in his first start since February. Other than that, this is the same side that started the last 3 games. Graham Alexander really summing up the spirit. At the age of 37, he's started all 59 games this season. Reading ring the changes from that final day defeat to Birmingham. Kevin Doyle, top scorer, fit again now and back in the side for the first time in 6 games. Brynjar Goodison, another back from the treatment table. It's his first start since March. And Marek Matejowski, who made such an impact from the bench against Birmingham, looks to do so from the start here. Stephen Jordan hasn't featured at all in the squad for the last 2 months. He's called up to the Burnley bench. Dave Kitson, Stephen Hunt and Jem Karacham all dropping out of the side onto the bench. Time for the final thoughts of the managers. Let's hear from Steve Coppell. He's with Greg Whelan.
Steve, in 3 playoff campaigns as a manager, you've never lost a semi-final. What's the key to these matches?
Well, I don't know. It's a long time ago now, those campaigns. I mean nothing, not relevant to this occasion. I think each one of these games is unique in its own value, and you have to climb a mountain, certainly away from home, and we're aware of that. It's going to be a tough game because they're a good team, but we're up for it. We've got a good following with us, so I'm delighted about that.
Because you struggled at the Medeski Stadium of late, how vital is it, do you feel, to get a result here?
Well, yeah, we don't pitch to go, you know, work harder here and give ourselves less work to do at home. It's just flat out. There is no way of qualifying your commitment. You just go flat out and try and win the game, and that will be our mentality today, just to try and win it.
Thanks, Steve.
Cheers, thank you.
Owen, can you use your famous cup exploits this season in the playoffs?
Well, I certainly hope so. We're playing against a quality side, but it's a fantastic occasion and we're trying to maximise it. So it won't be through lack of effort.
You can't win it in the first leg, but are your players up for it? Are they going to go for it?
Well, it's a tremendous atmosphere, and as I say, we'll try and get the ball down and play as we're ready. So I think it's going to make us an absolute cracking game.
Good luck, thanks very much.
Thanks, cheers.
Well, it's his first crack at the playoffs, the manager. For a few of his Burnley side, they may not get too many more attempts at the playoffs. He's had a few, Graham Alexander, his 7th attempt, and he's never finished on the winning side with any of his 4 clubs. Well, they need to find a way beyond the giant in the Reading goal today, Marcus Hanneman. There are 4 players still at Reading who featured in their last playoff campaign back in 2003 when they lost to Wolves in the semi-final. Only the big American plays today. Well, it's been quite a season, hasn't it, in this neck of the woods. Sleeping giants in Lancashire football. Preston Donny were there last night, Burnley tonight. Their league exploits this season have really galvanised the region.
Well, they certainly have. Two clubs with huge tradition. It's been so long since either Preston or Burnley have been in the Premier League, or the top flight as we know it. It would be one heck of a story, but there's lots of work for both of them to do if that's going to happen.
33 years out of the big time for Burnley. Such a proud club with that famous history. Already this season, with their cup exploits, they've won over a new tranche of Asmaras, if you like. Now for the next step. Reading, of course, rubbing shoulders with the elite last year. The second of their 2-year stay in the Premier League. Can they follow Birmingham City, who beat them last time out and denied them automatic promotion on the final day, and bounce back at the first time of asking? They're in their change strip here in a sunny Turf Moor. Touch from Robbie Blake. Well, no one in better form at home than Burnley over the last 5 games. They have a 100% record over that time. Here's Robbie Blake, voted by the supporters as the Player of the Year. How he dearly loved another crack at the Premier League.
He's a bundle of tricks, isn't he? And the one thing that Reading won't want to be doing is giving cheap free kicks away like Liam Rosenior has just done. We know what Robbie Blake is capable of from these set pieces. Whips the ball in with pace and accuracy. And Burnley have got some big players to aim for.
Blake with the quality to pick them out. Across comes Hanneman, did enough, just. It's going to be a corner, as if it wasn't noisy at Turf Moor at kick-off. Decibel level rises here.
Well, Marcus Hanneman wants a free kick for that. There's nothing. He actually collides with his own player, and we have to remember he gave away that very soft goal against Birmingham City last week, so he'll be wanting a big performance to make up for that.
Blake with the corner kick. Reading able to defend it and sweep it clear. That's Jimmy Kebe to get it away. No contrast with these two in terms of the home form. Reading, of course, bottom of the home form table, but they're right up there with the best of them away. You wonder, even though Steve Coppell said it before, just how much onus they will put on this, given the fact that they haven't won at home since January. They also haven't lost away since the first month of 2009.
It's quite remarkable, really, because they were sweeping all before them. I think the one area that will disappoint him is the goals output over the second half of the season, if you like. You know, for a team with such quality strikers and such ability in it, really struggled to get the ball in the back of that net. They're still very sound defensively, but it's getting the ball in the back of the net that probably cost Reading automatic promotion for me.
Incredible to think that behind Wolves these two are the second top scorers, neck and neck, with 72 goals scored throughout the season. And Burnley were 2-0 down at Hillsborough inside the first 4 minutes of the season and failed to win any of their first 4 games. And the most optimistic Clarets fan probably wouldn't have predicted this. Likewise, Reading at Christmas and into January, when they got the better of Wolves at the Medeski, didn't look like they would need this. You'd fancied them to kick on, but for a multitude of the reasons we've already touched on, didn't quite work out for them that way, did it?
That was interesting. It looked like the sun might have been playing a part in Andre Biquet's misjudgment of that. High ball into the box. Interesting also that goalkeeper Marcus Hanneman isn't wearing a cap. Have to keep our eye on that.
2 hours before kick-off, there were gales, there was almost horizontal rain, traditional Turf Moor weather, if you like. Sunshine has broken out, unpredictable conditions in this part of the world then. Shane Long, the focal point centrally of the Reading attack today, with Kevin Doyle restored to the lineup, playing out on this right side. Reading look left for Jimmy Kebe, and Marley, wide man. Reading, who throughout their promotion from the Championship last time, Don, and indeed for most of their stay in the Premier League, were a rigid 4-4-2 side. Occasionally they'd vary it, but they're paying Burnley a bit of a compliment even by matching up here.
I think they are, to be honest. I mean, there's no harm in them doing that, really. They know that Burnley, you spoke about Burnley's home form, fantastic, and they've been banging goals in for fun as well. And Steve Coppell will be aware of that.
And they had a nice sort of warm-up for this, didn't they? Knew they had to win on the final day here against Bristol City Burnley in order to make sure of their place in the playoffs. Managed 4 goals. There's their top scorer, Martin Patterson. Been already in touching distance of Wembley this season, haven't they, Burnley? That dramatic and unlikely semi-final against Spurs when took Spurs 4-1 deficit, 3-0 they won over the 90 minutes. It was only a couple of late goals and extra time which denied them.
And this is as close to a cup situation that you're going to get as well, isn't it, these next couple of games for Burnley? And they have been magnificent.
6 cup ties they played here at Turf Moor, most of them against Premier League opposition. Arsenal, remember, crashed out here. As well as Spurs being defeated, they've won all 6. No wonder there's such confidence about the place. Supporters, players, management. He's that kind of guy, isn't he, Owen Coyle? Really exudes quiet confidence.
He gets the balance right, doesn't he, between being confident and being arrogant. That's the important thing.
Okay, again, slightly misjudging it. Mentioned the sun. It's also pretty gusty here.
It's a combination of the elements, isn't it? Yeah, right. That's twice now. Andre BK has found it difficult to judge the flight of that ball.
Doyle. It's just the right time for his return, isn't it, Kevin Doyle, after that knee injury. Came back as a sub against Birmingham, but as the Reading camp will tell you, if he's fit, he starts.
You spoke about it being a lack of goals that I think cost Reading automatic promotion. When you miss somebody like him for half a dozen games or so, it can make all the difference to you. I'm glad to have him back here today.
His goals stacked towards the start of the season as well. He started red hot, didn't he? 15 in his first 20 games, 3 in the last 20. Without one in his last 7 as well, Kevin Doyle. Patterson. Marek Matejowski, one of the 3 changes made by Steve Coppell. Here's another Doyle who's popped up centrally. He's got Long in the middle. Now Kebe. Will curl into the roof of the net.
Well, Kevin Doyle was out on the left wing. Jimmy Kebe crossed that in, and there was only Shane Long in the middle of the goal. It's not really the way to score goals, is it? When you have a look at that, Shane Long takes up a good position. Doyle tries to cross it, gets lucky, and as Kebe crosses that, just the one Reading player in the 18-yard box.
And he did score off the bench against Burnley in the 3-1 home win. Both meetings between the clubs, going with the home win, just a narrow 1-0 win here for Burnley. Reading pummeled the Burnley goal that day, I seem to remember. Brian Jensen, the man of the match. More comfortable back at the Medeski, but in one of the vagaries of the fixture computer, they haven't actually played each other for over 6 months. Both the meetings in the Championship over by the end of October.
Yeah, and that was when Reading were flying, weren't they? Part of the season, but you know, people often speak about momentum going into the playoffs, the team with the momentum. Well, that's certainly something that Reading haven't got going in their favour. Can they change the norm? That's the big question.
Hit long by Michael Dubry, too long for Long. Patterson. It's a strong challenge in there by Dubry. Martin Atkinson, our referee, will decide what course of action he needs to take. 4 Championship games he's refereed this season, by the way. 4 red cards he's shown. Not suggesting this will be one, but the Reading captain will have a talking to at the very least.
I think that's probably all it will be. I think it's one of those that looks an awful lot worse than it actually was. I think it's an honest challenge from Michael Dubry. He's certainly got away with it from the Burnley perspective, but he is late. He's later than I thought, to be fair. And Good Johnson takes the full force of that. And whilst I do think he was going for the ball, it's completely mistimed, and he's very lucky not to see a yellow card for that.
Pedigree, but never in the playoffs. Michael Dubry coming towards the end of his career. He's 34 now. Joey Johnson, another who's been around. He's an enforced change, as we touched on early on. Few words from the Burnley bench of dissatisfaction about the nature of the Dubry challenge. It's Steve Davis, former Burnley player, part of Owen Coyle's coaching staff.
The challenge took place right in front of them, didn't it? So they got to see it from close up. As I say, not the best challenge in the world.
Kebe, Reading look for the break. Doyle thought about taking it off. Kebe, he has. Alexander comes back on the cover. Snapshot comes in, and it's just hoofed out of the danger area by Clark Carlisle.
Well, that was a better break by Reading, wasn't it? They committed bodies forward. It's their two big central defenders. They're going to go up and make a nuisance of themselves. And set pieces, such a huge part of football, aren't they?
Well, Dubry has never scored for Reading. Andre BK, who hasn't scored since October. Maybe we're going to change that, not immediately anyway, with the corner comfortably cleared at the near post by Joey Johnson.
It's always disappointing when a player doesn't clear the first man at a corner. Frustrates the life out of managers.
Matajovski scored his first goal of the season to try and spark the comeback against Birmingham last time out. Here's Rossignol now for Reading. Ran it to Blake. Blake prevails. Chris McCann. Off goes Calvinez. Backs comes Doyle. And that's terrific play by Kevin Doyle from a Reading point of view. Track back and then won the free kick.
Oh, that's not particularly something that Reading will want him to do, but he's shown willing there, hasn't he, Kevin Doyle? Super play, saw the job all the way through, and from a Burnley perspective, it's a really silly free kick to give away from Calvinez. It just takes the pressure off Reading.
Rossignol. And two Burnley men to beat. Andy Blake showing he can track back just as well as his counterpart Doyle. Dubry, that's an awkward one. Joey Johnson thought about it, thought better of it. That's the two who were involved in the challenge a moment ago. One to watch that probably done.
Players don't forget little things like that, to be fair. Of course, the object tonight is to win this game. Not really settled for me, Burnley, to be honest. They haven't got the passing game going that we know they're capable of.
There's McCann trying to start something from the midfield with one of those charges he's done all season. Good Johnson involved again, and this is a critical thing because Joey Johnson has a bit of a history of a short fuse as well during his time in English football.
He was certainly on the receiving end of this one. Well, before, actually, that was him coming back at Michael Dubry, but he'll remember the incident from earlier on in the game. Took a full-blooded clattering from Michael Dubry.
Alvarez's header. Gunnarsson. Doyle. Early ball intended for Kebe. Cut out by Duff. Now Eagles. And the Manchester United man has earned rave reviews for his performances for Burnley this season. Have so many of this young side. Worth reminding you of the fact that no one apart from Manchester United in the land has played more football than Burnley. No one in the Football League has used fewer players than them, 23 all season. That includes the likes of the goalkeeper, the substitute goalkeeper, Diego Penny, who's only played one game this season.
understand Owen Coyle was close to getting a game, wasn't he, at one point? He was so short on bodies, but remarkable achievement. It really is. Superb season. I keep harping on about how strong they've been here. All the Premier League teams they've beaten, but they've also beaten Reading and Wolves and Sheffield United out here at Turf Moor. So Reading know what a tough game they're in for here.
All season people have seemingly waited for Burnley to run out of steam, and it hasn't happened. Here they are approaching 60 games. Looking for the corner there, the Eagles, but he's not going to get it.
I don't know, I think look at player reaction. I think Chris Eagles would be going a little more animated if this ball hadn't brushed off him. He gets close to it, doesn't he? But he might have a little case there, to be fair. Owen Coyle certainly thinks he has.
Plenty of discussion between the fourth official, John Moss, and the Burnley bench in the opening quarter of an hour here.
It's passion, isn't it? If you can't get passionate at this time of the season about football, you'll never be passionate.
Passion in the playoffs. They are very happy bedfellows, aren't they? Here's Doyle. And they come in from the left. He was the man in the middle. Calvinez can clear.
Honours have to go to Reading for the opening 15 minutes. I think Steve Coppell's going to be the happier of the two managers. And Burnley just haven't got the ball down. They haven't been able to get Chris Eagles on the ball, Robbie Blake on the ball. It's been Reading who've been pushing forward, getting the ball out wide and trying to get the crosses in that we know they love. And they're dominating the possession, as you can see there so far.
Maybe yet to fully come to terms with the fact that Reading are essentially matching up against them. Not too many sides do that.
That's a fair point. I think they've looked a little more cautious than I've seen them before, Burnley. Obviously, you know, they can't afford to be at the end of this first leg out of the tie. I'm very aware of that. They may also just be aware of Reading's poor home record.
Talk about referees this week. Martin Atkinson, the man in the spotlight here this evening. Sunlight is playing a part. You can see there's kind of shield their faces from the sun coming over the stand at the cricket end of the field. Calvinez couldn't control. Norwegians come into the side, made that left-back position his own in the last couple of months. So much on the fringes initially following his move from Dundee United. Harding away. Cut out by Eagles. And talk about the amount of football played. All but 3 of this Burnley side, Don, have played over 50 games already this season.
Yeah, that was a lot of football. Seem to be relishing it though, don't they? And they've obviously been relatively lucky with injuries, although Chris Eagles is limping a little bit there.
Yet to really get going in an attacking sense. Have a chance now. Blake will shape up to take this corner.
Well, he's rubbing his hip, isn't he, Chris Eagles, as Dan Harding comes through and has a little kick. A little bit late after the ball's gone.
Doyle back doing the defensive side of his role.
Again, it's another corner that doesn't get past the first man, and that's really disappointing.
Just too much on it for Blake to really capitalise.
It's a little bite of the fingernails there. It's a pressure situation, but just be wanting his boys to just settle down a little bit and string one or two more passes together. They haven't been able to do that so far in the opening part of this game.
There is movement on that Burnley bench. Kevin McDonald looks like he's getting stripped and ready for action. Piqué with the chase. Nearly had the physical beating of Patterson. Harding. On loan from Ipswich Town, pressured by Eagles. Here's Kebe now for Reading. No change for him out of Duff. Cross comes Carlisle. Well, they're slightly cursed, aren't they, in the midfield department? Lost Wade Elliott to a calf injury just before kick-off. Failed that late fitness test. Brought in Joey Goodjohnson. And looks like he is going to be the man to make way for young Kevin McDonald, the Scotland under-21 international.
Well, he's not moving great. Look, he's asking the referee, stop the game, he needs to get off. And that's a bitter blow for both himself and for Burnley. This is the challenge. Dewberry goes full-blooded, and that is a really, really heavy blow. As I said, Dewberry lucky not to see a yellow card for that.
Well, that's that for Joey Goodjohnson. This young man, Kevin McDonald, although he hasn't seen a lot of football recently in the last couple of months, really hit the headlines when he scored a couple here in the Carling Cup win over Arsenal. Young man with the taste for the big occasion. In terms of the prospects for the remainder of Burnley's season, they don't come much bigger than this.
I kind of imagined he'd have been on the pitch after 21 minutes, but he is. Job to do.
Johnson going for treatment. Chris Eagles going for goal. Picks out McCann. On for Blake. Blake for Burnley. Trying to sneak it in. And if that had been on target, that would have been very interesting.
Well, he fooled everybody, didn't he? Because when you get the ball in this kind of a position, 99 times out of 100, a player will try and bend it in the far corner. He gives the goalkeeper the eyes. It's a clever attempt by Robbie Blake. And at last, a bit of positive play from Burnley.
And it was Blake who scored the winner here in the league meeting back in October between these two. Cagey first half to this first half.
Well, it has. I think that shot there was probably the first one we've had in anger, really. 21 minutes into the game.
Great. Next to chip for McCann. Well, it's exactly what Burnley will want when the cogs in the machine aren't quite clicking into place. They want the likes of Blake to get on the ball and make things happen. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. As I said, I think him and Chris Eagles been a huge, huge key to the success of this Burnley team. Creativity. They can make things happen out there. And so far, they've been a little bit starved of quality possession in the right areas of the pitch.
Shane Long. Here's Doyle. Passed by McCann. Here's Gunnarsson, back in the side for the best part of 2 months. Up towards Shane Long. Well defended by Duff. But Reading will come again. Doyle will leave it. Rosenior will cross it. Caldwell can clear. Doyle again. Oh, it's missed by Alexander. It's very much alive for Reading, and it's saved in the end. Fantastic double save by Brian Jensen. The cry of beast rings out around Turf Moor.
Well, rightly so. I think it's more about his positioning here. They miss the cross. It's Alexander. That is a brilliant save. Good reactions, but he's up really quickly, and he gathers the second ball. It's absolutely super goalkeeping. Jay taps a good strike. What a strong hand that is.
Just starting to come to the boil here. It's Robbie Blake. Good return. Now Calvinez. Eagles. Just couldn't pick the pass. Here's Tab, who came so close at the other end. And Jensen, it's been such a season for him in the cup competitions. He even had a sausage named after him by a local butcher.
Well, that's better, isn't it? It's turning into a better game. It's getting spread out. Committing more bodies forward, both teams. Game on after 24 minutes.
It's taken a while to warm up, but it's starting to develop into the sort of game we expected from the start.
Well, it is. He's very close. In fact, he's onside. We saw last night in the Preston game some wonderful officialdom. The officials were brilliant, got all the big decisions correct.
Wins it, down for BK. Carlisle, Calvinez. A free kick for the challenge on Chris McCann. Alexander, Duff has come forward. Here's Patterson. Eagles, away by Rossigna. He's happy just to see it get out of immediate danger.
I think Chris Eagles having a shot at goal there. He completely scuffed his shot, but it could have turned into a dangerous cross. Liam Rossigna having to just get the ball out of there. He's conceded the corner though.
Duff rose well. Comes Alexander, the oldest player for Burnley, the only player for Burnley to start every single game of theirs this season. Ever present and evergreen, really, isn't he, the Scottish international?
He's been a superb professional, hasn't he?
Mr. Reliable from the penalty spot as well, a 100% record when required, including a couple here in that 4-0 win against Bristol City last time out.
Is that 9 penalties this season he scored?
Yep.
Great record, isn't it?
Duff. Eagles. I mentioned that goal last week. Keith Fahey got for Birmingham City, a rare aberration for Marcus Hanneman. They've been pretty solid at the back recently, Reading. 6 clean sheets in their last 9 games. Long was setting his sights, he hadn't seen Calvinez coming. McCann upended by Gunnarsson. It's going to be a Burnley free kick. Eagles, it's a good first touch, very nearly enough to take him away from Harding.
There was a lot of space in behind as well, wasn't there? If he could have just nicked it away. Good defending by Harding.
Patterson. They're nearly gone in McDonald's way. Eagles. It's the goal kick.
Well, Brian Jensen, what a season he's had. Just how important could this save be? Burnley don't deal with it. Alexander gets under the ball. It's a good pullback, and J-Tab strikes it as well as could be. And that is a super strong hand. And not only that, he gets up and stops the follow-up shot. Absolutely brilliant goalkeeping. No wonder they love him here.
A bit of pushing in there. Martin Atkinson signalling that's why he's given Reading this free kick. Matejowski. The Czech international has fallen down for Michael Dubry.
I think he said he hasn't scored for Reading, and had a very similar situation the last day of the season against Birmingham, but doesn't quite get full control of the shot, can't keep it down. Reading probably wish that would fall to one of the strikers.
To just shuffle a little bit at the back, haven't they, Reading this season? A couple of injuries. Ibrahim Sonko, who started off the season as a regular centre-half, missing, as to Ivar Ingemarsson. So this has been the pair that has been the first choice, the main choice for Steve Coppell over the recent outings for Reading.
Looking strong as well, haven't they? Lots of clean sheets. I think they've got the most as a club in the Championship, haven't they, Reading?
Doyle, who's come a-roaming for Reading. And you can forgive him, having not have a lot of football recently, if he does have the odd rusty touch. I'll be aware, Reading, you mentioned their good defensive record, that Burnley, for all the goals they've scored, they also have the most porous defence in the top half of the Championship table.
I think that's what surprised me, really, because they play such an open, expansive game, Burnley, that they do score a lot of goals, but they do concede chances to the opposition. Although that has improved in the last, I think it's 5 games, they've had 3 clean sheets of their own, so they've kind of tightened up at just the right part of the season.
They haven't conceded for a long time at home either. Patterson goes down. Martin Atkinson, the referee, goes across. How long is he going to leave those cards in his pocket, I wonder?
I think it's Michael Dewberry again, isn't it? Just bundles Patterson over, right under the nose of the assistant referee, who gives the free kick. He's possibly one more tackle away from a yellow card, the Reading skipper.
Might be a young striker, Patterson, but he knows what he's doing sometimes in those sort of situations. And in these as well, very nearly came away. And fired just wide, so close for Burnley there, McDonald.
Well, Liam Rosinia gets a fantastic block in here. Watch this as it breaks. Watch the Reading fullback, he's out like a flash, and that is a really important block from Liam Rosinia.
Burnley look to Blake again to provide the delivery. Again, the man at the near post, able to glance it clear. Alexander. Eagles, it's given Burnley a lift, no doubt about that. Eagles. Alexander. McDonald. Eagles. Goes low. Patterson was waiting in the middle. Here comes Rosinia from that important bit of defending he did. Pepe and Doyle have just swapped sides temporarily for Reading. Long has stayed central. Here he is now, Shane Long. Going to keep it in. It's going to be a goal kick to Burnley.
Liam Rosinia in an attacking sense this time, but seconds ago it was in a defensive sense, wasn't it? He tries to clear it there, and as the ball breaks, McDonald goes to shoot. Rosinia leads with the arm. McDonald claims, look, as it strikes his arm. I think that would be a harsh one, to be honest with you. I think it's a very, very brave block from the defender, and I think it's the right decision from Martin Atkinson.
Doyle. Looking for Quebec. Well, it's route one. Patterson's first touch, and unable to get round the considerable physical form of Andre Biquet, the defender from Cameroon.
There have been a couple of long goalkeeper's kicks that Biquet's misjudged, and Patterson was onto that, but it's a long way round Andre Biquet, isn't it? He uses his body really well. Burnley just applying that little bit more pressure.
Looking at Kevin Doyle, Don, I'm not sure that he's moving as well as he might be. He's been speaking to the bench as well. Of course, got replacements in reserves. Dave Kitson there just stretching off. Stephen Hunt as well, should he be unable to continue. Ball by Matayoski. It's Kebe on the move. Someone needs to make up the ground in the middle, and Tab nearly did. Carlisle puts it behind.
We spoke about Liam Rosenior being in the right place at the right time for Reading. Well, I'll tell you what, Clark Carlisle gets himself in the right place here. Jimmy Kebe does ever so well, and Jay Tab's coming in behind there. Carlisle has to deal with it. Good defending.
Oh, great lead by BK, and cleared off the line at the near post. Back in by Rosenior, and glanced away by Alexander. Well, BK came close.
Well, he must have thought he'd scored first of all. I think it's the goalkeeper, just gets a hand to it. But from the rebound, that's Martin Patterson, the striker. He's there to score goals, but I tell you what, he's just stopped one. Absolutely brilliant. Well, the merits of having somebody on the post from corners is really highlighted here. Martin Patterson chests well, doesn't vacate the post, and that's brilliant defending. Warming up, isn't it?
It is warming up. 10 minutes to go on the first half. Just when it looks like one side might be able to get a little period of dominance, back come the other. Burnley had that good spell. Appeal for a penalty. The McDonald shot is being deflected wide, and back came Reading in style. The BK header and the Doyle stab, which needed a real last-ditch bit of defending from the home side. Tab, who's been lively so far. Harding. Shane Long the only in the middle, and there's a collision between Calvinez and Long. Long looks to the referee.
Well, once again, Shane Long was the only Reading player in the penalty area.
Here's McCann now. Matayoski with the challenge. He's going to get a yellow card for that as well.
Well, Matayoski saying it's my first one, ref, but it was so cynical. This is really cynical, but Shane Long wanted a penalty. It's a high, hopeful ball. Calvinez has slipped. And when he slips, he just takes the legs away from Shane Long.
Had an excuse to give a few yellow cards, the referee so far. Marek Matayoski, the first recipient.
I have to say, that would have been a harsh penalty, but did he deny a goal-scoring opportunity? That's the question. The referee would say no.
And it's breezy. Blake is capable of the unexpected. We've seen that already. We've seen it all season. Good curler in from Blake. Out comes Hanneman. There's no offside flag. Alexander. Dewberry for Reading. Doyle still out there battling away, despite suspicions that he might be withdrawn due to that injury.
Well, we saw a fullback in the Champions League lose his footing, didn't we, the other night? Cost Arsenal a goal, but Calvinez loses his footing there, and he takes Shane Long's legs away. That would have been a brave referee that would give that. The ball was high in the air, the goalkeeper was in control of the situation, and perhaps that's why Martin Atkinson deemed he couldn't give a penalty for that.
Did look as well like an honest slip, didn't it, rather than anything cynical in it. BK's header. Likewise that of Doyle. Here's Matayoski. Kebe to his left. Long in the middle. Doyle trying to join him. Kebe! It had real venom behind that one.
Well, that's why they play him out on the left-hand side. Very right-footed. Got lots of pace. Got the ability of cutting in and unleashing shots. He just can't keep the ball down, but we've seen him hit the target from this kind of situation. Lots of power. Just couldn't keep the ball down. Decent game now.
Well, is this the moment that you see the end of Kevin Doyle? He's down on the field. And after waiting a while before his return, unused substitute appearance against Norwich, and he was brought into action last time out against Birmingham. A start here, but an early finish as well.
It's a sad sight, isn't it, for Reading? and all connected with the leading scorer having to go off.
Well, that did necessitate the Reading manager to make a brief trip to the touchline. Always likes to watch the first half from the stand and then take his place in the dugout for the second. And the severity of the injury will be a concern, potentially, for Reading 2 more games after this. Definitely one. Mind you, Dave Kitson, who's on loan for Stoke City, who essentially secured their spot for a second crack at a Premier League season this afternoon.
It looked like his ankle, didn't it, or his Achilles? It certainly wasn't the knee. No,
it didn't look like the knee. Caldwell, the Burnley captain. Long. Well, Long's come out to this right now with Kitson through the middle.
Yeah, it seemed a logical thing to do. Put the big fella down the middle, try and get some crosses in for him.
Matejowski. Gunnarsson wants it. Matejowski looking for the busy run of Tab. Now Shane Long.
That's what they like to do, isn't it, Reading? Get the ball in wide areas and get crosses in. And try and keep the tempo high. Keep the opposition on the back foot. It's ebbed and flowed, certainly in the last part of this first half.
Pepe's been the man most likely to for Reading on that left, and BK decided to look for him to try and make things happen again. The new boy Kitson. Odds always against him. Cluster of Burnley defenders around him. Now Dubry. BK. Just asking too much of Jimmy Kebe.
Well, Martin Patterson, what a season he's had in front of goal, but it's on the other end here. That's good reactions from Jensen, but this is the big but. Patterson gets his chest in the way, no hint of a hand, and he's in the right place at the right time, and he makes sure that that ball does not cross that Burnley goal line, and it's brilliant defending. If ever there's a case to highlight why clubs need to put players on the goalpost from set pieces, that was it.
Matejowski. It's been an impressive away run from Reading. They've won their last 2 on the road without conceding. Looking for a 10th unbeaten game, Steve Coppell's side. Patterson.
They've played with quite a gusty wind at their backs, Burnley, in this first half, and I'm just wondering if that's not really helped them get the ball down and pass the ball the way they want to do that. They may find it a little bit easier playing against the wind in the second half.
Kitson got quite close to that one, charging down the Jensen clearance. Gunnarsson foul adjudged for a bit of pushing there from Kevin McDonald.
Looked like a bit of a soft one, didn't it?
Bit of a slow burner this first half.
It's threatened, isn't it? It's threatened to come to life on occasion, but never quite fully ignited.
Dave Kitson. That came off Calvinus. Hanson comes, and when he comes, he usually gets what he wants. And a long clearance. This time BK does get ahead to it. Alexander seemed to take a nudge, advantage play. McDonald, Blake. First time ball for McCann. Calvin is not quite alert, and trying to get that, and it took too much of the man.
It's good to see the fullback pushing all the way forward. It's clever play from Blake. Not sure Calvinez really read it. It's a fresh air shot, isn't it? From Shane Long, but impeded by Calvinez.
Couple of added minutes tagged on to the end of this first half. Couple of balls on the pitch.
2 minutes of added time. This has been sponsored by GM and Furniture Limited.
Alexander ran into traffic. Calvinez now. Patterson, in goes PK. Alexander, McDonald. McCann free on the left, Burnley go right to Eagles. McCann in the middle, Eagles on the charge. And Harding gets it away and out of play.
Well, he's had a good first half, hasn't he, Dan Harding? He has kept Chris Eagles pretty quiet.
Swept in by Duff. Patterson is there. No one else is though. Burnley appeal that he might have been eased out of it by Rosinha.
I don't know whether they're appealing for that, the fans or whatever, or whether they're frustrated that actually nobody was in the right place as that ball was knocked back across goal into a dangerous area.
Strong finish this from Burnley, but Eagles sliced across the back of that one.
And Robbie Blake was free, arms up in the air, because he had all the time in the world for them to pass the ball out to him, and he's not seen enough of the ball from a Burnley perspective in this opening 45 minutes.
On the plus side for the home side, they haven't been at their best. Haven't hit the heights that they have done at times this season, but scores still level. A few seconds shy of half-time. And they have had to live a little dangerously at the back as well. No goals in the first half, but that's largely due to the big man between the posts for Burnley. Couple of smart saves by Jensen, one from Tab and another one from a BK header, and a clearance off the line in the same move by Martin Patterson, preserving Burnley's clean sheet and denying Reading a half-time lead here at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Reading 0. Well, when Burnley are hot, they're hot at home, and the expectations are a little higher than they have been perhaps earlier on in the season. Just look at what they've done recently. 4 past Bristol City last weekend. They also hit 5 past Nottingham Forest, 4 past Crystal Palace here, and going back a little further, even 3 past Spurs in January. But yet to hit their straps here this afternoon. And on the positive side, Reading probably the better side, but Burnley still kicking off this second half level.
I think that's the perfect summary of the first half and what Burnley are capable of. They've certainly got lots and lots of goals in that team. They never really carved out any clear opportunities in that first half, and that probably more than anything will disappoint Owen Coyle.
Well, we can bring you a quick medical update before the start of the second half. Both teams forced interchanges. A dead leg for Jade Tab. For Joey Goodjohnson, I should say, for Burnley. And as far as Kevin Doyle is concerned, it is an Achilles problem. So not a recurrence of the knee injury, which is good news for them. Other than that, no changes to these two sides.
If Burnley can get off to a really good start, get this crowd, it's one of the biggest crowds they've had for a long time, get the crowd behind them, get them going, give them something to shout about. I think that could be part of the game plan for the first part of this second half anyway.
Just wonder as well, Wade Elliott has been a really key performer with him. He's chipped in with goals, he provides a surge from midfield. Joey Good-Johnson, who came in for him, came out injured, as we've just been discussing. How much of a blow was that to the way that they usually play? As it would suggest, with the few numbers of players they use, usually field a fairly settled side. Here's Kitson, the change for Reading. Now McDonald. Tab buzzing around. Here's Matejowski. Carlisle up to Patterson. Already the hero at one end of the field for Burnley. Can he make himself so at the other, as he has done so often this season? Good interception there to put Dubry off his stride. Away by Harding. Plenty of commitment early on. Harding caught late by Patterson. The assistant on this near side flags, and Patterson will get a talking to from Martin Atkinson.
Well, the fullback's down, not happy with the challenge. He's just getting away with the talking to, but he flies in here. It's a little bit late, isn't it? Assistant referee spots it.
A reminder that just the one yellow card brandished so far by the referee. That was to Marek Matejowski. Caldwell happy to shepherd that one out. And the ingredients all in place for this one to be an exciting game, you would think. Reading insisted they'd go all-out attack. Their away record compared to their home record recently would bear that out. Burnley equal second with Reading, behind the champions Wolves in terms of number of goals scored this season. They concede a few as well. So far the stalemate yet to be broken here. McDonald. Blake for Patterson. It was a beautiful ball. Patterson turned into trouble. Harding stood tall, and Dubry can clear. McCann. No doubt about it that Brian Jensen has been the busier keeper of the piece so far. A couple of those key saves in the first half.
He had to be alert, didn't he, on a couple of occasions to keep Burnley level. As I say, I think Steve Coppell would have been far the happier manager at the half-time interval. His instructions are going to be a little bit more of the same, I would think, whereas from Burnley I just felt that Martin Patterson got a little bit isolated in the first half. Not very much quality passing into him. He wasn't able to hold the ball up and bring the wide players in. They weren't up there in support as quickly as perhaps they should have been, and that's got to be better in the second half.
Well, in the Kitson and Caldwell clash, the decision goes the way of the men in orange.
When a defender puts his arms and holds and pulls like that, he's always asking for trouble. He doesn't get away with it. It's a free kick. They are kicking downwind. I know they're quite a way out, but there is a wind at the back. Just wonder if they're going to have a shot here.
Also the sun in the faces of the Burnley defenders and goalkeepers. Many elements aligning for Reading here. Marek Matejowski and Jay Tab. Matejowski gives. BK couldn't make the distance up to get the header on. Hung up by Harding. Patterson won't make up the ground. Lee Senior is the last man back. Alexander, now Caldwell. Loose clearance collected by Long. Kitson. Long wins through. Matejowski. Tab. Here's Kebe. Eagles trying to stick close to him. Hoisted in by Harding. Robbie Blake up to Patterson, who again cuts a slightly isolated figure. He's not going to get a free kick this time either. In a battle with Dubry.
Well, he tried to buy one, and certainly the referee and the assistant not going to buy that. Just made the most of it, didn't he, that coming together. I think that was probably because it wasn't a great ball into him and he had no support whatsoever. It's been the story of his match so far.
Over recent seasons, the patterns of first legs in the playoffs do tend to be on the KG side. You've got two sides who have their season condensed into a couple of matches. The hope of getting to Wembley, extending it by one more game. And of course, understandably, the thought is not to give anything away, which is exactly what Reading have done here to Patterson. Burnley's best moment.
I'll tell you what, I think there would be a steward's inquiry if Burnley had scored from there. I think Martin Patterson fouls Brynjar Gunnarsson, who's having a go at the referee for that exact thing. Hanneman was alert to it. One goal line clearance, at last he gets a sniff at the other end, but for me, it's a little bit of a foul. Just coming up, just there, he pushes him off the ball, but he gets away with it. That's the striker confident, that's a great effort. Hanneman just read what he was trying to do. And he also just about keeps the ball in play, the goalkeeper. Must have been very, very close. Have a look here. Slips through his grasp. The whole of the ball does not cross the line, so it's good assistant refereeing.
And the American using the basketball skills he no doubt picked up during his formative years back in Seattle. Concern over another injury to another midfielder.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? Not any luck whatsoever in that department. And again, there's nobody around. He just slips. I always worry for players when they go down when there's nobody around them. Could be a knee, could be an ankle. Moving very gingerly.
He's one of those who's played in 56 of the 59 for Burnley this season. Still only 21, Chris McCann. They're taking him over for a little bit of assessment.
It's been a good reaction from Reading, hasn't it? They must have been so disappointed on that last game of the season to lose to Birmingham when a victory wouldn't have seen them here tonight, would it? But, they've had to go again. I think, in the grand scheme of things, they've been the better team here so far in this match.
Kitson, way beyond Clark Carlisle. So look at Reading perhaps a month ago. There was a real danger as their form continued to slump. They might miss out on the playoffs altogether. So there's an element of positivity. I'm sure they'll have drawn on the fact that they won those tricky away games. Norwich, of course, who needed to win to try and get their survival in particular. That's the one that took it to the final day showdown, even though those elements didn't quite align for Reading and saw Birmingham bounce back, along with Wolves, who will join them. Nothing between Preston and Sheffield United last night, absolutely nothing between these two, just about 10 minutes into the second half of this first leg here. Header. So too that of Carlisle. Kitson trying to hold it up, but the knockdown fell to foe rather than friend. Wayward by Dubry. Goff gets a little bit of the rub of the green there.
Plenty of notes being taken down by Alan Irvine. Conceded last night that his team were probably second best to Sheffield United, but they've got another chance on Monday night.
Well, he comes back, he's made a gift of it to Kitson. Fortunately, just had to check Big Dave Kitson. And slightly heavy from Brynjar Gunnarsson. Just when it looked like he could get away, though, Dave Kitson seemed to get caught up under his feet.
Oh, the ball got stuck on the grass. Couldn't get it out of his feet. And still it's Reading doing the pressing.
Kebe beats one and unable to do the same with four, but again Burnley squandered possession. Matajowski couldn't make it count. McDonald. Eagles can collect. A lot of space down the left. Burnley surely should have found Blake through Eagles.
Oh, the crowd getting really frustrated here with Burnley. They must have seen them 23 home games. Don't think they could possibly have seen them play much worse than this, or certainly give the ball away as often as they've done so far today. They haven't been able to string 2 or 3 passes together all afternoon.
All those great cup nights, the capital punishment as they turned it in this neck of the woods. The penalty wins away at Stamford Bridge. Those wins here were ultimately in vain against Tottenham, but also against Arsenal here, and they're just unable to get any sort of possession on the ball, as that statistic bears out. This is when it really matters. It's all about the bread and butter, the league, the dream of getting back to the big time for the first time in 33 years, and Burnley so far haven't turned up with their A game.
I'll tell you what else really matters. It's the crowd. The crowd must realise what a huge influence they can play. This team is not playing well. They need the crowd now more than they've ever needed them for the entire season. Got to get behind their team.
The season stripped bare for both Burnley and for Reading. All those cold, wintry nights at this ground, those long trips up the motorways for supporters, players, directors alike. Chris Eagles, his afternoon is over. Is this the afternoon, I wonder, that a long season finally starts to catch up with a few of these early players? Niggly injuries, you can see that Chris Eagles is moving particularly smoothly. I'll clarify for you in a moment whether this one's tactical or whether it is due to an injury to the midfielder, but on comes Stephen Thompson.
Well, what it certainly does do is it probably gets a bit more support up there for Martin Patterson. Gives Burnley a bigger target. Potentially, if they can get some crosses in, we know Stephen Thompson can be a handful in the air.
And he's one who's just come back from injury, Stephen Thompson, the big Scotsman. And he's gone up alongside Patterson. There's Patterson now. Cut out at source by Boubry.
Well, if there's no injury to Chris Eagles, it's a really bold move, isn't it, by Owen Coyle?
Duff's throw. Patterson trying to shrug off Tab, very nearly getting exactly what he was looking for. It's Tab who wins the day. And that came off the hand of Kitson.
Well, he will argue that it couldn't have been deliberate, but there seems to be some kind of ice pack on that right thigh or hip area of Chris Eagles, and again, such a small squad, Owen Coyle, it's got to be a worry to him.
And by Alexander. Boubry. He waited for the push came, and then he went. Maybe an element of amateur dramatics involved as well.
It was a flying swan, wasn't it? He didn't go, did half go, didn't he? That's what you call theatrical. Stephen Thompson, a little bit naive there, really.
Kitson. Carlisle. Kitson again, Carlisle again. Maybe didn't judge that quite right. Duff giving Patterson a chase. Well, recent connections between these clubs might be disappointed not to be involved here. Glenn Little, who spent 8 years at Turf Moor. actually on loan at Reading during their last playoff campaign, that semi-final defeat against Wolves back in 2003, before he made his move permanent. Got a hamstring injury though, hasn't he, Burnley? So maybe available for the second leg of this semi-final on Tuesday night, but with an hour of this first leg gone. Oh, pick a winner if you can. Here's McDonald. Just invited forward by a gap that appeared in the Reading defences. Harding away. BK's header. Calvinez tempted forward. Now Tab. And Calvinez on the way back. Gives away the free kick, but being well out of position, might feel that that was one worth surrendering. Matejowski. Tab. Rosinya. Good steal by Calvinez. Thompson. Burnley's passing has not been up to its usual high standard this afternoon, no doubt about that. And the Achilles injury may be precautionary. Hopefully that is the case, but as you can see, a boot on that right foot of Kevin Doyle. Clutches as well for their top scorer.
Doesn't look too promising, does it? Utterly disappointing.
Blake. Burnley players conspicuous by their absence.
You just wonder, I mean, the remit at the start of this game is to still be in it, in the tie at the end of this first leg. Obviously, if things stay as they are, both teams will be, but is one of them just going to be brave enough to just press on a little bit and look for that decisive first goal?
For so much of the season against loftier opponents, Burnley have been fearless. It's been one of their trademarks. So that's won them so many admirers. The nerves just biting in a little bit on occasion such as this. The first ever taste of the playoff semi-finals at championship level.
There's at least a little bit of reaction from the crowd now.
Blake with the Burnley corner. Thompson couldn't get there, loose in the box. BK indecisive. McDonald. Calvinez back to Kevin McDonald. Rosinya away. Here's Matejowski. Hunted down well by McDonald. Again, Burnley failed to pick the pass. And where there was promise, once again there is frustration.
It's catching, isn't it, as well? Reading, when they do get the ball, which is often, given Burnley not passing it well, they give it straight back.
McCann arriving a little late and nudging Gunnarsson right under the nose of Martin Atkinson.
Oh, he must be so frustrated, Robbie Blake. He's a key player. Super skills, got the ability to open up defences, but not been given anywhere near enough of the ball.
Tab's header. Rosinya. Kitson. A little note in the hand of Liam Rosinya there, just been handed to it by Kevin Dillon. And messages from the bench.
Whether he's had time to read it or not yet, to be fair.
Harding. Kebe. they've been tighter on Kevin in the second half after the man from Mali caused them a few moments of concern in the first.
And we just finally had a little look at that. Now then, who's the message for? Can he get anywhere near whoever it's for?
And the chance taken by Carlisle, he wasn't exactly sure what was around him. Just too high for Long, and away by Blake. You touched on it earlier, Don. Whenever I've seen Burnley this season, one of the features about their players has been the way that they have sprung on the attack, and it's something they haven't done today. It's credit to Reading and the way they've negated one of Burnley's real strengths, or whether it's just a slight off day for the men in claret and blue.
Could be a combination of the two, couldn't it? You know, Reading, we know certainly defensively Reading have been one of the top teams. Very, very strong at the back. It's just in the second part of the season Reading have struggled for goals, and now they're going to draw another blank. They've certainly had plenty of them recently.
One thing that's never been in doubt about Reading's season is the quality they possess. The confidence has come and gone at times, both collectively and individually.
Liam Rosenior's just had a word with Jay Tabb. At last he's probably finally had the opportunity to get the relevant information onto the pitch, into the right hands.
Ball's well and clear. Thompson. Harding. Movement up front for Reading, but again, pass and recipient are not united. Slip by McCann. They're trying to steal it away. And getting the reward.
There's no doubt in the honesty and hard work and endeavour on display. It's just a disappointing lack of quality. It's the main thing at times.
Carlisle. Early ball by Duff. Away by BK. Here's Alexander. Too high for Blake. Three-quarters of the game gone if the side aren't able to warm to their task. You just get the feeling the supporters are. This rhythmic clapping. Trying to lift their boys to a slender advantage to take to Berkshire on Tuesday night. Normally, under normal circumstances, if it finished like this, I'd say that the away side would be pretty happy taking this back to their own place, but Reading's home form has made these circumstances far from normal.
That's a very good point.
Duff, blocked by Harding. Spin made it awkward for Duff, and he'll get another chance. A little bit of generosity. Patterson couldn't get away from Dubry.
He's had to work on scraps, hasn't he? Here we are, 70 minutes in. He's just had the one shot that I can remember. Working hard, but a little bit isolated. A little bit of lack of quality service into him.
To give you an illustration of how rare it is that Burnley miss fire, they've scored in their last 12 home games. They've only failed to score in 4 of the 29 they've played here all season. side, Steve Coppell, to cancel out Burnley. He will be pleased with the way things have gone so far.
He'll also appreciate there's an awful long way to go in the tie as a whole.
Minutes left on this first leg. Patterson. And there are players out there on both sides who have the ability, the individual flair to create something out of nothing. Robbie Blake certainly comes into that category. Whatever happens over the coming days in terms of the way this semi-final pans out, and if Reading get to Wembley at the end of the month, they can get promoted. Even if they don't, it'll still be the 6th best season ever in their history. It's reminding sometimes how far they've come so quickly.
They have come a long way, but I'm not sure they'll see it that way.
It won't feel like that if they lose out here to Burnley. One that they have had the better of over recent seasons, winning 4 of the last 5, but frustrated here again. Frustration, the word really, for both sides. Tab. Touched by Long. Kitson couldn't control.
Once again, only Martin Patterson up there, and that's why Reading are getting the ball when Burnley clear it.
And the way it's panning out at the moment. Quarter of an hour remaining here at Turf Moor. You do feel Reading look the most likely to. Matayoski. Down goes Kebe under the challenge from Duff, and Reading have the free kick.
It's a signal to send the big boys up from the back as well. Dubry, BK on their way up into that penalty area. Sometimes in games like this as well, it is a set piece, isn't it, that can settle it. A quality delivery, a bit of aggression, attack the ball, make sure you get on the end of it. The prize is huge if you can.
Delivered by Marek Matayoski, well defended by Burnley. First on the scene will be Rosigne for Reading. 6 still in the middle, out comes Jensen. Oh, he spilled it. He was also impeded on the way.
There was a lot of bodies in there for him to come through, wasn't there? It's a high looping ball. He decides to come, and Dave Kitson leans with the arm, and it's a good decision. You can see the arms across Jensen's head, really, from Dave Kitson. And that's the reason Martin Atkinson has blown.
Looks like perhaps nothing more sinister for Brynjar Gunnarsson.
And that's what they'll hope. Also, there's Burnley right back Duff stretching on the halfway line here. I've seen him do that just 5 minutes ago as well.
I suppose no coincidence these are the 2 players who've been out of the side for the last couple of months and not played a lot of football.
Yeah, it's been a big ask for them, isn't it?
Kebe. That's beyond Duff. Cross comes Carlisle. Got the interception, but it's fallen to Marek Matayoski. Tried to thread it through. Burnley were alert to the danger. McCann. One man from the Republic of Ireland who's had a storming season for Burnley. Can't storm beyond the Czech international, Marek Matayoski.
As he ran with that ball, there was no real options for him in front of him, was there, from the Burnley perspective?
Matayoski, the move from Long, a touch from Caldwell. Here's Calvinez. Blake. Touch of composure and class, away by Dubry. Here's McCann, deflected, and over the bar.
Well, I wonder how important that little deflection is going to be. I think it was Dubry's head that gets in the way as this ball drops. It's a brilliant touch, a better strike, and it is the Reading skipper that diverts it over the crossbar.
McCann close to it, so too Caldwell. Dubry gets ahead to it, hasn't got it clear. There's Carlisle. Long now down for Reading, back in by McDonald. Thompson tries to get away from Kitson. Can't bulldoze his way through though. Reading can breathe again a little easier. And may even turn their thoughts to something more positive, because here comes Jimmy Kebe.
Well, he's got to release the ball. Jimmy Kebe had so many opportunities to pass. Held onto it for too long, far too long.
Thompson. Harding, who has playoff experience during his formative years at Brighton. Played in their successful side, promoted to the Championship. Harding again. Something of the hit and hope. No one in the box for Reading.
Is it going to be a piece of individual brilliance? Is it going to be a mistake? Is it going to be a set piece? Are we going to get a goal? Not looking likely at the moment, is it, to be honest? Not many shots recently, neither goalkeeper. You can see the urgency. Owen Coyle, I think he wants them to calm down in possession. They have given the ball away way too much.
Thompson did well to hold off Dubry there. Now Blake. This is where Burnley want him in possession. This is where Reading will try to prevent him opening his box of tricks. Alexander. On by Duff, and that's not really what they were looking for, Burnley. McDonald. Patterson. McDonald continues his run. Tab. Kebe, oh, he's got the touch ahead of Carlisle. He's got Kitson in the middle here. Jimmy Kebe for Reading. Oh, he went the wrong way. Kitson's head is in his hands, and so too that of most of the Reading fans. What a moment!
Well, anybody connected with Reading need to have their head in their hands here, because that is brilliant. And now he's got an opportunity to play it. He doesn't play it early enough, and Kitson, look at his reaction. It's a super piece of skill to get him in that, but that's the touch he doesn't need. Doesn't need the extra touch. He's just got to roll it square. Kitson's got to tap in.
They do have the corner, Reading, although they could and probably should have had so much more. Kitson. Patterson back there to clear again. And it'll come straight back. Burnley have everyone back defending here. Maybe just to get it up towards the halfway line. Blake's touch. Even he has caught the bug. Kitson, Kebe. Now can they get their combinations right, Reading? Kebe woefully overhit.
Well, I suppose he blows either hot or he blows cold, and Steve Coppell cannot be happy with that decision Jimmy Kebe has just made. He's got to roll it before it gets to that stage. It's good defending, but he should never have had the opportunity. And shake of the head from Kitson, because he knows if the ball comes early, he's got to tap in and Reading get their lead.
Kitson. Discussions will go on long into the night tonight and over the next few days as to who will hold the advantage if it does finish like this. Certainly, given the fact we touched on already, the fact that Reading haven't won at home since January, and that Burnley have been pretty strong on their travels recently, might see that go in Burnley's favour. And they get it right when it really matters. Now there was a definite pullback there on the shirt of Thompson. BK furious, but the referee gives the penalty. A yellow card for Andre BK. Massive moment here in the last 10 minutes at Turf Moor.
Well, what is he complaining about? Everybody in the ground saw that he had a fistful of shirt. That's a great bit of skill, and you just can't do that. He's got a fistful of shirt. The referee's 5-10 yards away. He's the wrong side. He pulls Thompson back. And why he's complaining, I don't know. He should be ashamed of himself. That is a really stupid piece of defending. And all of a sudden, from being comfortable and restricting Burnley to long shots and no chances in the game, what an opportunity for Burnley now.
And on the biggest day of Burnley's season, They look to the most experienced man out there, 100% from the penalty spot so far. Can he keep that record going when it really, really matters? Alexander against Hanneman. Alexander scores! Burnley leads! On an afternoon where they haven't hit the heights, they do take the lead through their Mr. Reliable.
Oh, there was never any doubt, was there? Did anybody in this ground doubt that Graham Alexander was going to score that? But Andre Piqué, well, I tell you, he needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror. He was never, ever going to get away with that. But having said that, you've still got to stick the ball in the back of the net, and you wouldn't want anybody else in football on this penalty if you're Burnley than Graham Alexander. And that is absolutely calmness personified. Power, drives it high, and Hanneman absolutely no chance. And that is a big, big goal in a game that Burnley, let's not kid ourselves, do not deserve to be in front in.
4 penalties in his last 3 games. 10 out of 10 from the spot this season. Well, Piqué will be berated. Khalifa Cisse will come on for Brynjar Gunnarsson. But perhaps just a significant moment came at the other end moments before when Jimmy Keve failed to spot the opportunity and feed the ball to Kitson. Reading could and should have been in front. And they find themselves trailing here with just over 5 minutes to play.
All of a sudden, you look at that situation, you look at Brian Jensen's saves in the first half. Big, big moments.
Thompson. Piqué away. He's played a decent ball to Long. All is not lost just yet for Reading. Long trying to bulldoze his way through. Down he goes. It was a solid enough challenge, though.
They're looking for a response. I have to say, noted through the stats that they have scored a lot of late goals, Reading, during the course of this league season. How, oh, how they could do with one now.
Chance for Piqué to make amends. Dubry is also up. And falling all over the place inside the penalty area.
Andre Piqué, little shake of the head, he makes his way back, but I just don't know what he's thinking here. That is just madness. Thompson's in the box. I guess he thinks he's going clear, but there's always a chance that the goalkeeper could save it, but you can react like that. You know, he looks amazed that the referee's given a penalty, but he can't be. And that's what happens. Can't get away with it.
Well, there's still 90 minutes to be played in Berkshire on Tuesday night. There's still a few minutes to be played here. Patterson, who's had a frustrating afternoon, placed by the young live wire Jay Rodriguez, who's made a habit of scoring big goals this season when he's come on. Scored famously to make it 3-0 against Spurs here in the Carling Cup. Levels the scores up on aggregate and take it to extra time. Here he is on the ball. Thompson goes up front. Dubry wins the header.
I think we're going to find that Burnley play long balls up to Thompson now. I want the big fella up front to get a hold of it. Get a hold of the ball now. It's a decent result when you haven't played well in Reading. How frustrated they must be, and how concerned will they be, especially given the home form of late. And here's Calm. What an experienced campaigner. We know he's suffered heartbreak in the playoffs, but we'll be hoping that is a huge moment in taking Burnley all the way to the Premier League. A long way to go before that happens, but it's a good start.
Graham Alexander. So often the unsung hero, but he's really come into his own, hasn't he? And a season-defining afternoon for Burnley.
That was a big moment, wasn't it? Big, big moment. We saw him before he took that penalty, taking a few deep breaths. I mean, even he must have felt it, but you wouldn't have guessed it, the way he dispatched it.
Rodriguez, done. McDonald. Blake. Off goes Calvinez. Good break this from Burnley. It's Christian Calvinez. Well, that would have been quite something.
That really would have been rubbing salt into the wounds, and all of a sudden they've come alive, Burnley, haven't they? Found the extra yard in the step. He cuts inside on his weaker foot. Worth a try.
Reading staring down the barrel of their first away defeat since January. Unless they find their first home win since January, then their season will end in the next few days.
That's another one, isn't it? It'll be the curse of the fourth-placed finishers. I've noted it's been 10 years since the team finishing in fourth has actually been successful in the Championship playoffs. Face like thunder. I can understand why his team should not be behind in this match.
Now we have an atmosphere at Turf Moor in the 90th minute of the game. First leg almost won, advantage almost secured.
It's a real funny one, isn't it? You know, in most away teams, you lose 1-0, you think, it could have been worse. It's not the worst result in the world, but you keep harping on about Reading's really, really poor home form. I think they've had 4 wins in the last 17 games.
Oh, now
all 4
Kitson.
away.
Did he hit out there at Duff? Certainly he seemed tempted to. Whether he went through with it, a different matter. Certainly the referee didn't see it that way.
Well, he doesn't like that, and as they go to ground, he has a little slap. I mean, it's a push
He
on
slaps
the
his
arm,
own
really.
hand, actually, doesn't he? That's what he does.
Absolutely nothing in that.
In by Matajowski. Well, he's smiling, Alexander. They're close now, Burnley. They're really close.
Well, they are, but for all the experience he's got, look at this deep breathing technique to keep himself calm. Doesn't he stay calm? Really calm. And he gets the end result that he wanted.
Not even a glance at the goalkeeper there, was there?
He knows how to take penalties, that's for sure.
Every day he practices them in training for moments like that, for moments just like that. The two last time out against Bristol City, a luxury. They were in a good position, weren't they, against Bristol City when fumbled his advantage last week. They were in that critical position here this afternoon when he stepped up. Just 1 point between these two, remember, over the whole 46 games of the season. And one moment, this man forgot himself, Andre Biquet. And that could prove to be so key.
Well, this could be controversial because it looked for all the world as if the Burnley player played the ball there.
In the second minute of added time, Matajowski tries to slide it down the side. Shane Long. Matajowski couldn't out-fox play. Chance for a charge. Well, if only McCann had got there first. It was a great ball on to McDonald. But Rosinha defended manfully. This has turned out much better than expected.
Well, I think the end result has outweighed the performance as a whole, has to be said. He won't care, though.
Down goes Blake, and a red card, a straight red card. Andre Biquet and Reading falling apart here. First he gave away the penalty. Now he has given away his place in the side and his place on the field. He's lost his head. And with that, have Reading lost their chance of promotion.
Well, certainly has lost his head. He lost his head when he pulled Stephen Thompson's shirt, didn't he? Well, what he's getting involved in here, I don't know. The game's nearly almost up. So coming together there. Oh, and he stamps out at Robbie Blake. It's just absolutely crazy, you know. And it's his reaction, isn't it? It's as if, you know, he can't believe that he's been sent off for such a petulant stamp. It's absolute madness. And I tell you what, Steve Coppell will be absolutely furious with him. Furious.
Well, one man doesn't make a team, but one man's actions can bring a team to its knees. And Andre Biquet giving away a thoughtless penalty. And then essentially giving the referee no choice but to send him off. How critical will those two moments be for Reading? Of course there's a chance for them to recover, but they have given themselves a mighty mountain to climb. Of course, when given an advantage, you have to take it, and Graham Alexander did just that. A calming word to his colleagues. He doesn't want any celebrations yet. He knows the job is only half done. But after the first leg here, it is advantage Burnley. They have beaten Reading in the first leg by 1-0.
Incredible finish to that match. Like a light came on in the last 5 minutes for Burnley, but for Steve Coppell and Reading, goodness me, plenty to think about there from his players, especially Andre Biquet. But Burnley can celebrate victory in leg one of the playoffs by 1-0. More to talk about in the last few minutes there than the whole match. Peter Beagrie is ready, willing and able, but have Burnley got enough in the bag? 1-goal lead they take to the Medeski on Tuesday. He never misses from the penalty spot, but Reading, goodness me, what were they thinking of?
Graham, 1-0 at half-time, effectively. Satisfied or relieved to be in this position?
I don't know, really. We've just come off the pitch, so no, we're happy to get the 1-0 win, but you know, we know it's nowhere near over. Reading are a fantastic side, and they've got a lot of quality inside. So you know, Brian's made a couple of great saves tonight, kept us in it early on, but we've worked hard, and you know, we've done well to get the win.
What was going through your mind when you stepped up to take that penalty?
Just try and stay calm, just concentrate on what I was going to do, and you know, hopefully keep my fingers crossed, have that little bit of luck to make sure I score.
Robbie, Graham had nerves of steel then, didn't he?
Yeah, we you know, we count on Grezza. He's fantastic on penalties, and as you can see, none of the lads ran in. I knew it was in the back of the net, and he practices every day. He's that professional, and you know, he gets his rewards with a great pressure penalty at the end of the game.
Did the referee, do you feel, have a decision to make with the red card in the end for BK's challenge on you?
I don't think he's got an option. I think he's stamped out on me, and it's not nice when people get sent off, but I think, you know, his referee had no option to send him off.
How would you rate your chances of going through now at this stage? Only half-time, of course.
Well, I think it's 50-50. Nothing's ever settled in the first leg. You know, we realised that from when we played Tottenham in the cup. You know, and 4-1 down from the first leg, and we bring it back. So we know nothing's done yet. Reading will know that as well. So we've just got to work hard on Tuesday and hopefully get our rewards.
Well, Graham, congratulations on the win at this stage. You're also the Powerade man of the match. Robbie, if you did the honours for us, please.
Well done, mate. Well done, mate.
Well done, guys.
Cheers.
Last 10 minutes of any game is very important, Peter, but none more so than here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, up until that point, Reading's performance had been very, very disciplined, hadn't it? And it was a lack of discipline, really, wrong decision-making that cost them the game, like you say, in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, Andre Biquet, now, how much blame can you lay on his shoulders for what happened in the last 10 minutes? First of all, the penalty.
Well, I mean, the penalty as itself, it was a nice little bit of interplay for a change from Burnley. You know, we allowed space and possession. Patterson puts it through, and it's what he's got to do there. If he's playing a high line, you've still got to go with your runner. He doesn't. The referee's got in a great position to see it. He's drags the shirt. He's outside the box, but Thompson's definitely inside. And I think Thompson ruffled him a bit. You know, he came on and he
put himself about.
Yeah, he did. Threw himself about, and as it got a direct result, you know, leads to the penalty. And I mean, no one, he doesn't miss. 10 out of 10 for his performance, coolness, and 10 out of 10 from the penalty spot. And what he does, his straight line run up like that, means the keeper's got to stay in the middle of the goal and can't guess until the last minute. So it gives him the opportunity to go either side, and he practices them, you know, all the time, never misses. Terrific servant to the game and to Burnley.
Now, we don't want to ladle it on BK. He's had a bad game. Last 10 minutes, very bad. But he was also, he's got a bit of form. He was also sent off in the African Nations Cup semi-final for pushing over a stretcher bearer. So the old red mist does come down a bit.
Absolutely, and from mentally, from that point of view, he's a bit unstable after the booking, and you can just see him there. You know, Robbie does actually pull his shirt as he's on his way down, and then, but there's no excuse for this there. Stamp, you know, referee bang on the spot again, no option, and you know, definite red card. But he does his impression of the Incredible Hulk there, ripping his shirt off. You know, he's supposed to be green, he's in tangerine. But Steve Coppell will be so disappointed with somebody with international experience as well.
Well, he rules him out now, doesn't he?
Yeah, rules him out. And you know what? 10 minutes ago, Jimmy Kebby down the other end had a great position, could have played it into Dave Kitson. Wrong decision make again. And in a game as important as this, you've got to do it.
Let's get the view of his manager. Steve Coppell is with Greg Whelan now.
Steve, well, how would you sum up your emotions after losing in those circumstances?
Well, as you said, the circumstances, you know, I thought we'd done well. You know, they hadn't created a great deal. There's no away team in the first leg of the playoff. I thought we'd done okay. And then the penalty incident, the referee was probably about 7-8 yards away, and there was a shared tug without doubt. For him to give it from where he was without the 100% support of the linesman, I think was at best a guesstimate. There's no way he could say for sure it was in or out. I've watched it about 5-6 times now just on a small computer, and it's almost impossible to say, even with the camera right along the 18-yard box. Now, I don't know where the benefit of doubt should go, but surely if there is no clarity in such an important game, then it shouldn't be given.
You now have to go to the Medeski Stadium and win, of course, in the circumstances, given your recent record. How tough a proposition?
Well, mission impossible the way we've been going recently, but it's all to play for, isn't it? We've got a home game. It's going to be a tough game. You know, Burnley once again showed the resilience. You know, they just, you know, stick in their hard work inside, and full respect to them. We've got a job to do. We've got to try and do what we haven't done recently, and that's to get a victory at home. But, you know, it's still close.
And finally, what did you think of Andre BK's behaviour to get sent off at the end there?
No defence. You know, there is no space for that in football, and you know, he got 100% what he deserves. No reservations about that.
Steve, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, straight to die as ever. January the 27th against Wolves. Last time they won at home. Are Burnley favourites now then?
Yeah, but there's only one goal in it. We've seen, you know, it only takes a second to score a goal, George.
All right. OK. That's it from Turf Moor. Big thank you to Peter Beagrie. Bye for now.